So and Hite's all, so do you, Hite says to me, he's like, do you want us to follow you or do you want to get
I didn't want to be like disrespectful and be like, here, hop on. Like, you look like you're struggling. Hop on. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I thought it'd make you feel good if I got on your wheel, right? I was like,
dude, that is nice of you,
That's a nice friend.
right,
Yeah.
dude? I was like,
That's a gentleman.
I was actually going to ask if you could pull me in.
Welcome to BrainStoke. I'm Tom Telford, Preston Niederhauser. We are at night 4 of BrainStoke Ambassador Camp. We are with our incredible athletes. The last 4 days have been a blast. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hite, I was on your wheel today. Road bike. We were out near Gunlock. There was a rabbit up the road.
I didn't see that.
No, not a true rabbit. Actual cyclist up the road.
Oh, yeah.
He was the rabbit up the road. What did you do to me when you saw that rabbit up the road?
And I took off. I can't lie. Yeah. And then we got to him and he started like sprinting and
He couldn't grab the wheel though, so
He was gone.
Yeah, you dropped me and the rabbit. So I made a new friend.
oh, did you ride with him?
doesn't even know.
Look, I'm just connecting people. That's what I'm doing. I'm a team player.
Bro, you're a networker.
That's
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Exactly.
Hite, you started. Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to Joe, and then we'll go to Blair, and then we'll start firing away.
Yeah. So my name is Hite Stromberg. I'm from Ogden, born and raised. O-Town, represent. And I like to bike and be with these boys, riding with you guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, stoked to be here.
Awesome. Tell us something, Hite, about you that no one else knows.
Oh.
Right here on camera.
Doja Cat is my go-to listen when I'm putting down watts. Yeah.
He's not lying.
We might have to cut that out.
No, dude, we've heard way too many. of
Yeah. So if you start a jam with me while we're riding, you're gonna get some Doja.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
I've heard way too many of that this trip.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little sick.
I bet you have. You guys are 20 hours into the week, so I'm sure you've had plenty of Doja. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Joe?
Yeah, I'm Joe Hansen, 19 years old, and just love racing bikes. Grew up in Draper, Utah. That's where I'm at now, and just so fun to be here.
Awesome. Corner Canyon High?
Corner Canyon, all 4 years.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Tell us something about you, Joe. No one else knows.
Man. I'll beat anyone at Fortnite. That's just, I'll just put that out there.
No, dude, I would one pump you.
I like it. Okay, Fortnite. Yeah. Fortnite varsity, man. Okay, cool. What do we got? Blair?
My name is Blair Perkes. Grew up in Bountiful. Lived in Mountain Green for about 3 years and moved to Grand Junction. That's where I'm at right now, Colorado. Yeah.
What do you do for a living, Blair?
I'm a nursing home administrator.
Nice. Leading from a young age.
Yeah. 24, starting young.
That is awesome. Good for you. That's cool. Tell us something about you, Blair.
Monster is my favorite drink ever.
Okay. Ultra? Fully leaded? What do you got?
All of it. Yes. I would drink any of it.
Flavor.
What's the orange one? Do you guys know what the orange one is?
Pipeline.
Yes. That was so good, dude.
Hite knows.
Pipeline hits different for sure.
I'm with it.
Awesome to have all of you. Super fun to be with you. So as we started the ambassador team months ago, we started chatting about what we were trying to accomplish with BrainStoke. BrainStoke's interest in having an ambassador program had nothing to do with fast cyclists, had everything to do with good guys and women, who are not here today, but ultimately there will be some ambassador ladies, who join BrainStoke. when we chose to do this, it was who are good guys who would be willing to join this team and spend time outside in the sun, sweating and getting their stoke on, but willing to tell their stories of struggle along the way, right? Which is the life of a cyclist, right? How many hours do you spend suffering and hurting, getting ready to actually perform so that stoke, right, could possibly come out? So when we started this and telling you what our mission and vision was, you know, for the program, what was your initial thoughts, Blair? What were you thinking about these crazy brain stokers?
I was excited. Cycling's a super selfish sport. And even in high school, it was never my favorite thing about the sport because even leaving my family, you want to spend time with the people you want to spend time with, whether that's friends or family, but you got to sacrifice if you want to do well for cycling. And it's a lot of work. So hearing that there was an opportunity to be able to not only race bikes, but do it for another greater cause, in my opinion, it was like the best of both worlds. And so that's what kind of thrived or built what I wanted to do was, all right, I can do something more than just ride my bike.
Yeah, that's awesome. For our listeners who are kind of chiming in, as time goes on and people get to know Blair Perkes and what you're about, you are married. So you're a young married man who is leading, you know, an organization from your profession. You're also, you know, leading, you know, part of this team. And yeah, so I think it's awesome that that's cool that at this age you're kind of focused on a mission and a good cause along with, you know, becoming a really freaking strong cyclist. That's awesome. Super cool. Other thoughts and questions that we have? What do we want to fire? Just to like throw them off balance a little bit.
Well, really, it's just like, why? I want to know your why. Like, why do you want to be a part of the BrainStoke Ambassador program? Joe?
Yeah, I think it's such a cool opportunity because cycling's kind of an interesting sport where there's all this time and effort that no one really ever sees. Just most of the time you're just seeing that podium picture or that one race, but hours and hours of nutrition, training, and all that never really gets talked about or seen. Yeah. So I think it's a cool opportunity to be able to share like the struggles that everyone goes through on the bike. You know, the early mornings or long rides in the sun that is just brutal. Yeah. I think it's cool to share that part of cycling that not a lot of people really know what goes into it.
Yeah. Even today we were on a ride. We were at Veyo Pies, eating pie, right, for our second time this weekend. But I'm pretty sure while we were there, you started talking, we all were chatting, and you started to share how your junior and senior year in high school, your state race was both of those races were potentially your two worst races you've ever had, right? Yeah. The races that you built up in your mind for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, right? And they kind of fell apart for you. So we can laugh about it now, right? Yeah. But back then it was like the world was ending because you didn't win or you took second place in a sprint, right? Yeah. So it'll be fun to have you share those stories as you become a fully involved, engaged ambassador of BrainStoke. It's gonna be cool. Yeah. Hite?
My why. I kind of piggyback off of what Joe said, but it's really just showing like the good, the bad, and the ugly that goes into getting the stoke. Because, like you said, like a lot of people just post the stoke and not the struggle. Yeah. And like when you guys came to us like about this team, it was so authentic, and it was so like it's not like we're gonna have to change our lives to do anything. Like we're already living this, but now we just get to share it with people and hopefully relate and help kids and anyone find that stoke going through the struggle. So. Yeah, that's kind of my why, is just to show the good, bad, and the ugly to get to the stoke.
Sweet. And Hite, if I know this right, you didn't start racing bikes really until like 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, when I was like 19, I ran throughout high school because NICA started when I was in like, junior high, maybe 9th grade or 8th grade or something. Ogden High like made a team. And it was either that or running. I ran throughout high school. And then my dad and uncle, everyone's always like biked my family, and I've always biked. But so once I got out of high school, I was like, I need something to keep the competitive edge going. Yeah. And biking was just so attractive to me. Like I got on it and I was like naturally decent at it, and I was just like, why not? Like it's so much fun. So that's kind of how I got into it.
How'd you connect with these two?
Blair. I connected with Blair. So Blair's wife, Presley, was working at my dentist. She was like the dental assistant when I got my wisdom teeth out. And I was talking to my dentist about biking and stuff. She's like, "Oh, you bike? Like my husband bikes." I was like, "Oh, cool." Like just thinking like I was just some random biker. In my head, I'm like, "I'd just blow him away." He's probably some slow guy. And
That's hilarious.
I was wrong about that. But and then we
Interest is flowing.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I thought I was something else, but
That's awesome.
and then we raised Basin Beasley like 2 years ago or something, and Blair was there, and we didn't really know each other, but
We just said
then
hi.
and then Presley introduced us, and then we raced again at I Cup Powder Mountain, and then he just randomly texted me asking if I wanted to go down to Frog Hollow with you, Mitt, and Payson. And then the relationship just built between us. And then Joe came on one of the rides that we were all at. And then this bond just continued to roll.
There's something about suffering or doing really hard things with people that you really love and respect.
Oh, absolutely.
Blair, maybe talk a little bit about that or share what it is. I mean, we brought all three of you in because we knew all three of you were buddies, were tight. But y'all have got kind of diverse backgrounds. You're from all over the state in a way. But what's it like to suffer with people you love and respect?
That's a great question.
Is it like, let me just, on top of that, because I love Preston, but part of the reason that I love spending time with Preston is because it's a unique person who has kind of cracked the code that hurting is part of the recipe for love and respect, right? I mean, there's something there about when you first go on a ride with someone new, maybe they may have been brand new, but all of a sudden you're like, these guys are cool with hurting and I'm hurting, and now we're all like, we're cool. So is that a precursor? Like, is it part of the recipe of having the respect and love for somebody else, like that you've done something hard that's led to that?
Yeah. I think you're able to connect with people a lot better when you've struggled with them, for sure. Because you have like a solid connection through whatever the struggle was. It's all about growth for me, though. If I don't have people that are going to push me, I'm never going to grow. So people around me, like even if that's mountain biking or road biking, people around me are who make me want to do better. If I see someone going up the road, I'm going to go up the road because I don't want them to beat me. And it's going to make me stronger too. A lot of it really is just about making sure that I have that connection with them. And it's not just the bike. Like I love to connect with people, and I love to know who they are and understand them. What Hite didn't mention is we went on a ride. The first ride we went, just him and I just riding. We went up to Ben Lomond,
Yeah.
and he didn't want to pull. Like he just wanted to sit on the back on my wheel. And I think it's because
That's what I do.
I think it's because I knew. It's because he knew he'd be able to fly by me, and he didn't want to hurt my feelings.
That's not true.
Because we didn't know each other. But now he can just go, and it's all good. So
That's not true.
yeah, it is.
I was tired.
So let me take you to a moment of this weekend. This has been a fun weekend. It's been fun and it's been cool, but it's also been inspiring for someone, mid 40s, to just watch young guys who are driving towards this, what I'm going to call the 20-hour week, or what, I want to know like what your expectations were coming in for the weekend. But this morning in particular, there was a moment of like, it's morning number 4, okay? Everybody's not fresh, not like running out of bed to go outside and ride bikes like day 1, which is like, oh, it's snowing up north and now we're south. And so this morning, right, morale is maybe like on a scale of 10, morale was maybe like 1.8, right? No one's running out the door. So why did you guys go out the door? Why did you get dressed again for morning number 4? Like, what was it that got you dressed and out the door to, for our listeners to know, like, to go ride 100 miles today?
I mean, last night I was already in bed. Blair walks in the door. He goes, "I've got some bad news." Me and Hite look at each other like, "Oh boy, like, give it to us." And he goes, "On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 7." And we're worried. And he goes, "You got a flat tire in the front," which I've already been struggling with all week. Just flat after flat, been pinching tubes, just you name it. And so I was like, okay, I've got an early morning. Gotta go to the bike shop, get some tools and supplies, and I knew these guys were gonna hold me to a big ride. They're gonna hold me accountable to push myself and dig deep. And it's it's like the guys that you surround yourself with, it really matters. And they're the reason I got up, because if I was alone, I wouldn't be doing it. I couldn't go do 100 miles today if I was alone. So everyone here just is able to help push me and keep the struggle and stoke.
And a thing, Joe, when you kind of look back that, we often use the word peer pressure as a negative thing, like, oh, peer pressure, they make me bad choices or whatever. But it, in cycling or in life, positive peer pressure, right, can also be the flip side of that, which is it's going to force you to do things in a positive way that you wouldn't have otherwise done, like sleep in or whatever. So is positive peer pressure part of a good cycling team?
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
You can't, without friends, you're not making it out the door on those 6-hour, 5-hour days. Even just riding, like some of the days a couple years ago when I was riding really, really hard, there's no way I would have done those 6-hour days without knowing that I could go connect with the Mountain Green guys and ride with them and have them push me. So yeah, no, it's all about the people you're.
Well, Hite, last night when you guys were laying there, Blair comes in, he delivers the news. Did you know that no matter what happened, that Joe was going to figure out a way to have the bike ready to still do the ride? Yeah. You did? Oh, yeah. Why? Like, what do you know about Joe that says, like, he's, like, this is the struggle, right? Like, that's a hurdle. Right. Our shop's going to be open early. Yeah. Like, so why did you believe that Joe was going to figure out a way to make it happen?
I'd say because I feel like he's accountable for sure. And it's like we had this plan and he's for sure going to go through with it. And he knew he'd disappoint me and Blair. Let's be honest. You couldn't stay back.
I knew they were going to be
sad.
We were going to find a way no matter what.
I would have had to do it on my mountain bike or something.
Yeah.
I had to go. So I had to figure out how to.
Yeah. And the first thing he said, he's like, all right, well, I'll wake up early and go to the shop. So there wasn't like any doubt. Yeah.
So the obstacle, right? The obstacle comes. And you're still just going to talk yourself into doing the hard thing. Like, go solve it, still stay on plan, overcome the thing. So this mindset of like, I'm still going to go through it and I'm going to figure it out. What is it about the mindset of someone who just is willing to figure things out, right? Instead of, do you know people who just are almost looking for the obstacle? Like, they're literally praying, like, I'm praying for a flat. I just want to have a flat so that I don't have to go, versus someone who's just like, hey, it happened and now we got to figure it out. So talk about mindset. Maybe Blair, to kick us off, like, what is it about that mindset of just, there was an obstacle, but I'm going to work through it?
Quitting is not an option in my eyes. Life is life and things are going to come, but you're going to have a lot of things in the way. But just being able to push through, just knowing you can't quit, like, push on. That's.
So even as you say this, you're smiling, right? Which is unique, right? So how do you stay positive, Blair? Because in those moments, like I've seen the last 4 days, you guys have buried yourselves, and yet you still kind of chuckle about it. You're just kind of like, your eyes are closed, you're shoving food in your mouth, like water's kind of dripping down, like, and yet you're still kind of smiling. Like, so how do you do it? How do you stay so positive in the suffer?
That's a great question. I actually grew up with a guy named Josh Peterson, best friend. He and I raced bikes together in high school, actually, and suffered a lot together. And he's the most positive guy I've ever met in my life. Him and I kind of connected quickly when we found out, our personalities are very similar. And him and I kind of stoke each other up every day. There's always a text. Still. Okay. There's always a text, even though we're living in different states. But honestly, like, a big part of who I am is because of him and him showing me how to just be happy no matter if you had a sucky day. Because some days we wouldn't hit the intervals and we wouldn't hit our numbers, and it was like, all right, on to the next one. Let's eat ramen and call it good. Like, that's just how it went. And then also a big part of it is I'm always happy because I get to come home. When I go home, I know I get to hang out with my wife. Like, that's huge for me. There's no way I'd be able to do anything that I'm doing if it wasn't for Presley. She makes me who I am. So that just gets me stoked no matter what part of life it is. Yeah.
That's awesome. I agree. Like, you should. Like, she's amazing. Preston and I both know her, and she is amazing. And that you have to have that support, right? Because again, like, you've been gone with a bunch of dudes, for the last few days. And so that support system's big. Tell us, like, from Joe and, from Hite's perspective, as you think about what he just described in terms of positivity, has there been moments the last couple of days where you're like, the two of you looked at each other like, one of you, like, who should punch Blair?
Oh, it happens all the time, actually.
Say more. Double click on this.
We're already pushing up any hill, and Blair decides, it's a good time to attack. And me and Hite we look at each other and we're like, no, we can't let this slide. And it just happens time and time again, just chasing down Blair. But it's always worth it. Like, getting out on these rides, it's like finishing the ride is all, it just gets us so amped. And a lot of the time it sucks chasing down Blair. It's not fun and it's hard. But getting back to the house and knowing that we just accomplished something really tough is just, it's always worth it.
That's awesome. Hite, what are you thinking? Has there been moments where you're like, I want to stick a stick in like his rear wheel, or?
Today, probably the last 45 minutes, we did like 65 miles on the road bike, and then we hit the trails on the mountain bike. And I was pretty shot. And I was like, boys, I'm just gonna go do some miles on the pathway. And Blair's like, no, we're gonna go do one more lap up on the trails. And I was so sick of it. But Blair convinced me. He's like, no, we're gonna do one more. It'll be like, what do you say? It'll be like 25 minutes. Yeah. He somehow got me to go. And halfway through, I wanted to stick a stick to his spokes, but we're here, and I'm glad he made me do it for sure.
So, you had the goal when we went out the door today, or while we were on our ride. Yeah. I had suggested a couple different things, but I'm like, let's do 63 miles. That's awesome. And you're like, I'm doing 100. You started, well, I don't know if you started it, but you're like, I'm going to figure out how to get to 100 miles. For sure. So you ended up riding 40 miles on the mountain bike tonight so you could hit your number. Yeah. Why?
Because we said we were going to do it. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and he held me to it.
You went into a dark place.
Yeah, I was.
And you still did it, which I love.
Yeah, exactly.
Such an animal.
But no, it is. It's like, I wouldn't have done it without you too. Yeah, like, you get in those dark spaces, but if you have the boys, you can do anything. For sure. Yeah.
Talk about your competitive nature, because Joe mentioned it a little bit. You haven't really mentioned it yet, but I know I can tell it's in there, and I know it's in Blair. But talk more about why being competitive is part of who you are. Like, was it how you were raised, or is it something that like you're driving towards something that you expect of yourself? So talk about that, just your competitive nature and why.
I mean, all of us are all very competitive, and when us three get on a ride together, it just we start throwing punches pretty quick, and it's honestly such a good thing for all of us, whether we're trying to get fast or just trying to have a good time. It's always we're always on our toes, and it goes a long way because like I think we were headed back like 90 miles deep into a ride, headwind. I'm on the front, and all of a sudden, Hite's standing up, sprinting, just sends it past us. And,
awesome.
it helps us all grow so much, and it just keeps it fun.
350 on the front, and Hite comes by at 650.
It's
That was
insane.
fun.
Why'd you do it, Hite?
It keeps it fun. Like, seriously.
Shock value?
It is. It's kind of like, yeah, like, let's see.
He knew I was hurting on the front.
Yeah.
That's exactly when you go.
Well, and it was like the whole 2 hours, I was like telling them like how crappy I was feeling. I just kind of had to prove that like, hey, look, like I'm okay. Yeah. I had to let them know that I'm okay.
Oh, you're hurting?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Stick it to the man.
Yeah.
Now we're getting there.
Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere. Blair, how about you? What is this competitive nature?
I'm the youngest. I always wanted to be like my brothers. I always wanted to beat them. And that's honestly the start of it all, skiing especially. I'd see my dad and my older brothers skiing down the hill, and I'd be like, I'm keeping up. I'm not losing those. So I'd follow their ski tips and I'd go. Yeah, hate losing.
Started as a kid. So when you think about that now, as an adult, you're married, obviously you're training a ton. What is the motive now? What do you want to accomplish as a cyclist in your life at this point? Like, when you envision it, where's it going?
It's a great question. I really want to qualify for Marathon Worlds. That's been a goal for a long time.
Yeah, describe that. Like, what is Marathon Worlds?
And what do you have to do to qualify?
Yeah, so it's a cross country, well, not cross country, but it is a mountain bike marathon race, which means 40 plus miles on the mountain bike. Usually 90% of it's single track, so way more fun. As far as qualifying, a lot of it, well, the reason this year why I want to go so hard is because it's in the U.S., so it's in West Virginia, and that's kind of what started the whole thing. I was like, I could do this, and so I really wanted to do it. And Preston and I sat down, and she was like, "You should do it. I'm like, this is your passion. Let's get it done." To qualify, it's all about nationals. So nationals marathon is in Auburn this year, Alabama. So I got to do well there. And then as long as I get the UCI points that I need, then I'll be able to get in.
That's awesome.
So does it like any top 10 qualify for Worlds, or is it not necessarily that how it works?
I'm honestly not sure. I know that I'm going to look into it as I get faster and see how my results line up in the spring. Because there's some really fast guys right now. They're going to race nationals, and so I got to see where I'm gonna end up if it's a possibility. But that's my goal.
Fun to watch the journey via Instagram, right? Yeah.
I'll be showing. Yep.
Hi, what about you? Where does this all go? Where does all this fitness, take you?
I don't know. That's the thing. I'm kind of a training man. I can perform when we're training, but no, I've never trained this hard ever in my life. And this is kind of like the first season I want to like take seriously and do good. I don't have any specific goals. I know a lot of people like to have their like goals, but I just want to get to the starting line and finish strong, and put some good results in. But yeah, specific goals, I don't think I really have anything. I just want to be strong on the bike, and like even if I don't do well in races, like it's so fun just training. Like that's really what it comes down to. I just love training.
Process.
It really is the process. And if I can get some good results, which obviously I want to, That's just a bonus.
Is the win for you just passing Joe when he's hurting?
Oh, 100%. That's why I had to do it today. Yeah.
Joe, what about you? Where does this take you? What do you want to do?
Man, I've had my eyes on a national championship for a few years now. Come up short, and I'm just hungry for it. It's like it's just been burning me, and Blair's got one. Got to one up Blair, so I've had my eyes on that for a little while. It's been fun to chip away at it and put in big hours.
Yeah, that's
So like
awesome.
a U23?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking? Okay, cool. It would be sweet. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Today, let's go back to the ride because there's a couple stories out of today that I just want to double click on, and go further into. So, Blair, what was the highlight of today for you? Was it the pie?
Oh,
It's always the pie.
the volcano was so good though.
It's always the pie.
Give our listeners some context. Why pie? Like, how did we even come onto the pie?
Well, what's funny is we were expecting to do a bigger route on the road, and then we just changed. Preston was planning on going up to Veyo, straight to Veyo, and we were going to go left, but we decided we want to hang with Preston for a little bit longer. So, honestly, my favorite part was Hite just pushing the limits because I was on the limiter most of the climb there, and I knew I had to work for the pie because I couldn't just give myself the pie. Like that's not a thing. I was supposed to have 60 miles? It was about 60 extra miles that would have been out to Utah Hill, right?
Yeah.
So I was going to have 60 extra miles on my legs at that point when I hit Veyo for the pies, but at that point it was like I had to hit the climbs really hard behind Hite so that I could eat the pie. And it's not like I starved myself. I just really wanted to work for the pie.
Listeners who may not know, in just outside, north of St. George, there is a little teeny town called Veyo. And Veyo is known for having this little pie shop that's amazing. There's nowhere to sit inside, but the pie's the best on the planet. And cyclists, since the dawn of time, have done the Veyo loop or the Gunlock loop and stopped at this Veyo pies, to put down some additional calories. So a few days ago, we stopped in there as a group. I show up late because I'm gassed. These guys are so fast. And Blair walks out with a full banana cream pie.
6 slice banana cream pie. And he and Joe bellied up to it.
Yeah, and for those of you who may not know, there is no to-go box that you can put in a jersey. Like, it's just how it happens. So fast forward to today, they're re-rounding at Veyo Pies, and so did pie happen?
Oh yeah, pie happened. I had to, like I said, I had to get the volcano because JT talked it up, so I hit it. So good. Better than banana cream? 100%. I thought so.
That's funny.
Ooh,
The banana cream, dude.
Yeah, it's unbeatable.
There we go.
I don't know. The chocolate's pretty good, especially with the caramel.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be
I'll have
sick.
to talk to him.
Yeah.
So pies was part of it. Height slamming and smashing the climb was part of it. But Joe, talk about your day because you had an interesting day in terms of struggle. What went on?
Yeah, so this morning, woke up to a flat tire. Just happens sometimes. Got that figured out. We got on the road. Like, once we hit Veyo, slammed a pie. Was feeling good. Then just drilled a rock, double flatted. Just didn't have the tools or the enough tubes to keep up with my flats. Had to give JT a call, and I ended up missing out on about 20 miles because I was stuck out there without the proper tools and supplies. So, but I knew I got a freebie of 20 miles, but as soon as I got home there on the mountain bike's ready to go. So I didn't have time to chill or anything. It was just back on the gas.
So even when the road bikes, that story ends, it's just back on and keep going, right? Just finish the day, finish the goal, which I think is amazing, in terms of just the mindset that you guys and the way that you think about it. Talk about, go ahead.
Just one quick thing. So I had the opportunity to ride with these guys today, And so we went out towards Gunlock, and then you go up to Veyo, and there's this famous, well-known climb that's in the Ironman. It's called the Wall, right? And prior to the Wall, Blair kind of comes back to me. I'm fourth or fifth wheel, and he comes back. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna crank it up. Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll hang on as long as I can. Go for it. Send it. Do what you got to do, you know." So that's when there's a rabbit up the road, and they take off and go. Anyway, so I limp up the wall alone, you know, and I get up around the corner, and I'm going across the top flats. And here comes, everybody had flipped around after they finished the ride, or finished that portion of the ride. They came back and they pulled me back into town. And that's kind of a good feeling when you kind of are a crappy bike rider, is when all the good riders come back to get you and tow you in. You know, so I appreciate, and Hite's all, so do you, Hite says to me, he's like, "Do you want us to follow you, or do you want to get..."
I didn't want to be like disrespectful and be like, "Here, hop on." Like, you look like you're struggling. Hop on. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I thought it'd make you feel good if I got on your wheel, right? I was like,
Dude, that is nice of you,
That's a nice
bro.
friend.
right,
Yeah.
dude? I was like,
That's a gentleman.
I was actually gonna ask if you could pull me in.
Also, keep in mind, Preston was going like 24, so.
Why does Hite need to sound like vacuum? Bro, you are twisting it so well. It's so good. Like, I wanted you to feel good, Preston. So I was gonna ride your wheel.
Oh, man.
Hite, go in front of me. I want your wheel. Anyway, he pulled me in. So anyway, that was just a funny thing. It was supposed to be all sappy and but it turned out.
No, it was beautiful though.
That was a beautiful thing of you,
was,
bro.
yeah.
You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy.
Good, bro.
You good, bro?
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Couple things that I noticed just over the last couple days that I thought was really cool.
You can't see it for our listeners. Maybe JT can pan around. I don't know. Maybe Kevin can. But part of this camp, you know, one of the off stories was that Preston was here. Obviously, he's on camera. But Preston was here with Major, which I think is so cool. You know, I've not been in a camp situation like this where a father and a son were here, both hammering at the same time, the same way. I don't know if maybe Kevin can, you know, show JT, but couple father and son combos that have kind of gone on here. And, you know, watching Preston ride with Major it's just cool. And so BrainStoke was never about like this elite team of cyclists. It was always about how do we build relationships with cool people and getting out there in the sun, sweating, and doing something that we're stoked about, you know, which is riding bikes. And that is the premise of the 5 S's, right? Is trying to connect the dots of being outside with cool people doing the things that you love. And so that's been cool, you know, to watch Preston and Major out there on bikes together. No doubt, you know, the other son, Mitt, will return, you know, and it, you know, I'm sure we'll all have to have a group vote if we're going to let him, you know, into the BrainStoke Ambassador program. I don't know if he's strong enough. We'll see. I mean, we'll see.
We'll do a ride 2 weeks in and we'll decide.
Yeah, just yeah. Yeah.
Give him the drag
But
race.
the other
Part of the story, you know, of the weekend is that, you know, JT has been bouncing everywhere, you know, and so audiences will hear this, you know, people will see social media, and a lot of the story that is being told of the struggle and stoke of the weekend was captured by, you know, JT Telford and Kevin Day. And as much as they're not on film, they are part of the story, right? And whether that was helping with food or whatever, all of those stories matter because it's been a struggle, right? Getting to the right place is almost out of gas, you know, losing cameras, you know, losing microphones. Like, to pull this off is a struggle, you know, and yet it's still part of the story, you know, that it took a lot of people, you know, to pull this together. And I hope that our listeners kind of understand that. Like, we're not just trying to tell the story of an elite cycling team where everything that we posted was perfect, right? That we're a bit of a cluster, just a little bit of a mess all along the way. And that's been kind of fun, you know, to be involved in that. So anyway, with that in context, you know, talk about maybe the highlight, you know, of the camp, or the funniest part of camp, or something that sticks out to you whereas like, yeah, just something you'll take away, a memory.
We have our separate group text that we just, like, before the camp, we were just texting about this and everything, and gossiping about Tom and Preston and stuff. But no, we were texting, and I was like, guys, I want to go big. Like, let's go 4 or 5 hours every day, hit it super hard every day, see what we can do. First thing, like, there was no, it was 100% in from both of them. They were like, yep, we're doing it. I'm down. Let's get some fitness. So this week has been cool because I've never done a 20-hour week, and we hit 20 hours. 18 was my max before. So 20 hours was pretty sweet. And that's the biggest I've ever done. That's my highlight, was just being able to ride with them and Preston and Major, and have a lot of time with them hanging out. It's super fun.
Yeah. I think the whole thing's been high. Right?
For sure.
Well, except the last 2 hours of today. It's kind of a low, I can't lie. But yeah, I think it's all been a high, just riding with all the boys and getting out there. Today was so nice, like just being in the sun. I don't know how cold it is at home, but it's a lot warmer down here. Yeah, I think the whole thing's just been so fun. Just being with you guys has been a blast.
Yeah, an awesome part of it is, like, that's 20 hours of just straight hanging out with your best buddies.
Yeah.
You know, I did get a text from my dad back at home that they got 18 inches of powder, so I was a little bit sad, but, you know, I've been able to spend a lot of time on the bike and enjoy the sun. It's been beautiful down here, so yeah, it's been so fun.
It's huge.
Cool. Sweet. So last couple of questions. When it is 10 p.m., half of the house is asleep, and all the lights are off in the kitchen, and Blair starts to sneak into the kitchen, I've noticed that he's on a prowl, right? He's like a sniper, like ready to take a shot at someone, but he's really after food. So talk about the late night foodie, man.
I don't know what it is. Well, you were telling me that you're supposed to, like, it's dinner and then supper, right? Dinner's at like 5, supper's at 8. Well, we've been getting back at like 6, so dinner's at 6:30, and then supper's at 10 or 11.
And then in and out at like midnight.
Yeah, with JT, you got to hit the in and out.
How many late night runs have happened in the last 3 nights?
There's only in and out, right? Or did we go more?
2 out of 3?
Yeah, about 2 out of 3.
And what's on tap for tonight?
Oh, Nielsen's custard for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we gotta.
Nelson's? They're closed.
No.
Baskin Robbins is our best bet. Yeah? You're doing research.
I guess I'll tell you that.
Freddy's custard? There's got to be something. We got to.
Is Culver's open?
I don't know. We got to do some active research. Yeah. So 20 hours on the bike. What would you say is the equivalent of calories burned?
So I was looking on my Strava. Every day was approximately 3,000 to 3,500 calories burned.
Yeah.
So 3,000 times 12,000 calories.
It's like 200 Pop-Tarts is all I know.
Yeah.
And that's what we ate, bro.
Yeah.
Holy.
Speaking of go-to nutrition, you know, is one of the last questions. What's been your favorite drink? What's been your favorite like snack on the bike? Like what's your go-to?
I mean, I always eat goo and SIS. Those are my go-tos for sure. That's the easiest.
Pop-Tarts and fruit snacks, and then threw in some Mountain Ops that just saved me a few times.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What Mountain Ops? Tell us about that.
Height knows a lot about
I
the
know
Mountain
so
Ops.
much about this one.
So was this yesterday? Saturday?
No, this was yesterday, dude.
Yeah. Okay, so I was feeling pretty down. I haven't been down. It sounds like I've been down a lot.
Height
this
gets
week.
down quite.
But I
I mean,
really,
it's like 2 hours every day.
I was just kind of low energy, and then you had some Mountain Ops, some Ignite, And I probably took too many scoops. I did like I did like 2.5, but I had
What's
to.
the limit on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I did too much though, but it made me feel good. The Ignite, so I do Cliff Bars. The Honey Stingers go crazy, and then Mountain Ops. The Ignite is just. I've never had it before this trip.
Tiger's Blood is really good.
Yeah, the
That was
Tiger's
so
Blood. It tastes good. Yeah, that stuff is good.
And you'd recommend like slightly above recommended serving?
Oh yeah, for sure. If you're feeling down, like not super talkative and just kind of like to yourself, yeah, take like 1.5 probably, and you'll be chatting it up with the boys right after.
He was.
He was.
Okay, so Mountain Ops Ignite. We like it. Good. Any other tips from the weekend? Any takeaways?
roll out.
Yes,
out is-
that's true.
Massage. Joe's good at massaging.
Height.
Okay, one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Should we double check on this?
He's just making stuff up now.
Yeah,
I think he
this-
needs some.
he needs some ignite
He
right
needs
now.
some ignite.
He's just talking
He's losing
smoke.
his mind.
No, but honestly, height. I don't know what it is, but about midnight, he just starts talking, and you can't get that kid to be quiet. No, he's awake, and we're not responding because we're trying to sleep.
I end
but-
up talking to myself.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward. But then he's sleep talking, so I think he's talking to me.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. So I'm having this like weird conversation with Joe that makes zero sense.
You guys.
I love this. You guys are awesome.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. We're glad to be here. Thank you guys for doing all this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been so fun.
I mean, it's really not like you say. This isn't about us. This is so that everyone can see. You know, we're your normal person. It's not the easiest thing ever every day. So we
Yeah.
still have to work hard to get what we want.
Yeah, well, it's a heck of a kickoff, right? I mean, it's a heck of a start, to the season. And I think that if we continue, throughout the year to just, be real and to talk about the struggle that it is, not just on the bike. We've talked about this off camera, but riding bikes is, it's symbolic and an allegory of life, right? Life just is hard at times, and it can be challenging and a struggle, whether it's family, whether it's relationships or friends or school, whatever that may be. Life can be a struggle, and similar to on the bike, when you surround yourself with friends, good people, and get outside, be in the sun, sweat, even if it's just walking, there's something about being outside when the serotonin is flowing, right? Even though the day started and it sucked, right? Like Hite's like, oh, I don't know. But when you got outside in the sun and you were sweating with your buddies, all of a sudden the serotonin starts flowing in the brain. The happy drugs start coming, right? And then it turns from like, this is so hard, this sucks, to we're going to do something cool today. And we're going to get back to the house and we're going to be totally tapped and tired. And yet, you probably will wake up and do it again tomorrow, right? Yeah. Right? Oh, yeah. 100%. It's going to be fun. You've had your daily dose.